I move that the committee favorably report the nomination of the Honorable Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. of California to be Secretary of Health and Human Services. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman, the final tally was 14 ayes, 13 nays.
The vote was 14-13. The nomination is reported favorably.
After extensive consideration, conversations with her in my office, attending the hearing, questioning her there, and listening to her in the closed session, I decided to vote that I will vote for her.
I just want you all to take a step back and savor this moment. Bobby Kennedy, Tulsi Gabbard, the MAGA movement, the standard bearers, all coming together today, officially confirmed by the U.S. Senate committees, the Committee on Finance and the Committee on Intel, moving forward the impossible nominees. They said it's not possible. There's no way that they could ever be done. And now here we are, folks. We actually stand on the precipice of being able to reform our country, to save our republic, and to be able to bequeath the United States of America to our children that they deserve. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Congratulations to Bobby. Congratulations to Lieutenant Colonel Gabbard. Congratulations, of course, are owed to President Donald J. Trump. I want to bring in here, we've got Kenny Cody from humanevents.com. Kenny, you wrote a whole op-ed talking about the importance of these nominees. Now, I'd like you to reflect on that piece and also the fact that the news just came down, breaking within the last couple of minutes. Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, both respectively confirmed by their Senate committees.
Well, it's huge for our movement. It is huge for the Trump administration. We are getting the change agents that the MAGA mandate asked us to implement. And that took pressure from the MAGA movement. Listen, Todd Young, Bill Cassidy, and all of these others, Susan Collins, would not have voted for it had people like Jack Posobiec, Human Events, and other MAGA change agents been advocating for the change that the Trump administration actually wants. They called Pete Hegseth impossible. They called Tulsi Gabbard impossible. Bobby Kennedy, Kash Patel, they are too radical. They are too involved in the movement. They are far right. They're not good enough. They're not modern enough. They're not centrist enough. Well, look what we have here. They have been passed by all their committees. Kash Patel will be passed later on this week, and we are going to implement the change that the American people have mandated that the Trump administration take. We did not vote for Donald Trump to get Mike Rogers as the FBI director. We did not vote to get a Washington bureaucrat as the Secretary of Health, and we did not vote for a deep state bureaucrat to be appointed as the Director of National Intelligence. We are getting the change agents that the American people voted the Trump administration in to implement, and that will change the deep state, Washington, D.C. forever. I am so excited for the movement. I am so excited for the people who have made these things happen. And Jack, you, I, and so many others have been calling for these kinds of appointments and these kinds of needed agents of change for years. We are past the 2017-2021 term of Donald Trump when he had to work with the establishment in order to get things done. This lame duck term is going to be the most consequential administration in American history, and passing Tulsi Gabbard, Hegseth, Kennedy, and Kash Patel are the first steps to make the change that the U.S. government and Washington, D.C. needs, and I cannot wait to see it this week and next.
By the way, Kenny, I completely agree. And go read Kenny's piece up at humanevents.com. And by the way, I'm going to be making sure to find out exactly who those 9 senators were and who the 8 senators were as well, because we don't do closed door meetings around here. No, not on Human Events. That's not how I treat my audience. That's not how the American people deserve to be treated, these closed door, behind the scenes nonsense. No, we're not going to be doing any of that. We're going to be doing full accountability, full transparency. That's what President Trump called for. And so we are going to deliver on that, the change agents. And Kenny, I really wanted to ask you about something. This came up a couple of weeks ago, and you and I were on the program together, and we were talking, interestingly enough, about the H-1B program. And we were talking about this narrative that was out there where they said, oh, there's no talent in America. There's just no, we've got to bring in foreign programmers for AI. We're going to lose the AI space race if we don't bring in these imported programmers because the talent just isn't there. And then I see that Doge has this kid named Luke Farritor out of Nebraska who comes in and is able to reprogram the entire U.S. government using AI, using Python scripts that he's able to come up with, that he got his sort of claim to fame from, oh, by the way, decoding Roman scrolls that were burned up in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in Pompeii. And he's actually found a way to read the charred scrolls for the first time in thousands of years. Kenny, I'm confused because I was told there was no talent in America. What's going on here?
I think the establishment is losing its control of the narrative. They've been telling us for years how they want to squash the middle class. There's no talent in the middle class. There's no talent in these flyover states, such as the one that I'm from Tennessee, or a state like Nebraska. We've been told for so long that there is no American talent, that we need to import college students. We need to import, university graduate students to take jobs from real Americans. But then you see a kid like Luke from Nebraska who is breaking down things that the American public has any idea how to do, or any information about what those scrolls contain. Listen, we have to be able to change the narrative. This is the same narrative that we had to combat, and that Gabbard, Kennedy, Patel, and Hegseth were not possible to lead federal departments. We also have to combat the narrative that they want to just keep the middle class down. The middle class is what won Donald Trump this election. The talent is in the middle class. The talent is in America. The talent is in these flyover state kids that go to universities, that go and work jobs, endless hours, that take payless internships in order to work in the fields that they want to work in, and to take down these narratives that American kids cannot get hired, that we have to bring in those from India, from China, from other countries that are our enemies, and for some reason bring their talent in to take over our talent, and for them to take over corporations, to take over government institutions, and to give benefits to other countries overseas. But now, kids like Luke are changing that narrative. People like the ones that we are getting confirmed into the Trump administration are changing that narrative. We have got to change the mainstream media narrative and the cultural Marxist progressive left narrative that have controlled our universities, that have controlled our government, that have controlled our media, and those who are responsible for hiring these people on H-1B visas. We've got to change that narrative into hiring American, into promoting America, and promoting American values in our government, in our economy, and in our infrastructure and establishment, taking over the establishment narrative to benefit the American people for once, instead of corporations, other countries, and the deep state that have controlled Washington, that have controlled our government, and controlled our media for far too long. It's time to change that narrative, and I'm glad people like Luke, Kash, Patel, Gabbard, and Bobby Kennedy are helping change that narrative.